This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now, where we bring you the 3 E's: educate, empower, and engage. I'm your host, Harvey Blankfeld, along with our co-host, Shelley Brown, and we've been selling homes here in Southern Nevada since 1988. Shelley and I are also very proud to be part of the Real Estate Radio Network. That is a national network of local real estate professionals delivering timely, balanced truths about local market conditions. Cool.
Okay, what about if I'm self-employed?
Yeah. Let's talk
Self-employed
about that.
people, they're probably the community of borrowers that have been most negatively impacted by these regulations and the way our world shifted. Ultimately, you have the challenge of the way the rules were written and the way loans were underwritten for the longest time was we focused on what you show in your tax returns.
Right.
This particular requirement works in exact opposition to what self-employed people want to do.
Right.
The reality, self-employed people want to pay as little tax as possible.
Right.
So you show you are justified in taking every write-off that you deserve as a business.
Right.
And I get it.
Right.
But from the mortgage side of things, we have to focus on what do you have left after all those write-offs.
Right.
So now that person that might have, and I'm just making up numbers, but might have $10,000 a month coming through their business that they can use to sort of survive and live on, that's not even relevant for me. What I have to focus on is, at the end of the day, your taxes showed me you made $5,000 that year.
Yeah.
So you have $5,000 a year to qualify off of.
As you said, they're some of amongst the most challenging loans for you guys to do.
They are.
And how can we make that better? How can what can they do to improve that? And without going too far,
right.
I mean, we're all worried about that.
Well, I think the key there is for self-employed people, as with their business, it's about planning.
Right.
So knowing that mortgages are typically looking at your last 2 years at most in a business, if you have that 3-year vision for where you want to be, you can potentially strategize your tax returns with your CPA to show more income.
So I got to pay more taxes to get a mortgage.
Well, a traditional mortgage as it's written right now.
But I can carry over maybe some of my losses to a year that you're not going to look at.
Yep, or take it all in the year before you're going forward.
Try to do it.
Whatever is certainly allowable under the tax code, strategy-wise. The key challenge that we have is that your CPA, when they work with you, is focused on how do we reduce your tax liability. Me as your lender, I'm focused on how can I give you or say yes to the most mortgage possible.
Right.
And those two things work in opposition to each other.
Of course.
And then separate from the income side of things, you have situations where self-employed people borrow money for their business. They finance vehicles or this sort of thing. Those debts that you've signed for personally come into the picture and need to be part of the consideration when we're loaning you money. Another aspect is the money that you actually have in your bank account. Are you keeping all your money in your business account, or is it in your personal? Money in the business is a separate entity. I can't use that until you move it to your personal account. So the strategy-wise, you want to pre-plan as much as possible when you're a self-employed borrower. Okay. Maybe strategize a year or 6 months before you really want to be buying the house to set yourself up in the best situation for the lending rules that are today. What we've done as an industry is we've seen individual lenders design their own mortgage programs with slightly different rules. Very commonly, what you're seeing in our market right now is some cash flow, or what we call bank statement programs.
Okay.
That focus, instead of on your tax returns, they focus on the money flowing through your bank accounts. And they look at the last 1 year or 2 years of activity to see how much money are you really flowing through, what do you really have to pay the bills.
You've been listening to Las Vegas Real Estate Now with hosts Harvey Blankfeld and Shelley Brown. Please tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on News Talk 720 KDWN.